ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवतिरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, so we are reading from Sri Valmiki Ramayana, verse to verse rendition by Rupa Raghunath Vani, which is by His Grace Vidwan Gauranga Prabhu. So this Valmiki Ramayana, it has the original Sanskrit text, Roman transliteration, Sanskrit English equivalents, translation just like Srila Prabhupada's format, and also canto summary containing an annotated, unabridged translation of Sri Narayana Pandita's Sangraha Ramayana of the Madhva Sampradaya. Commentary containing an annotated, abridged rendition of Sri Govindaraja's Ramayana Bhushana of the Ramanuja Sampradaya. And notes containing excerpts from the writings of the Acharyas of the Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, as well as Bhagavad Gita as it is and Srimad Bhagavatam as translated and explained by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Okay, this is how this work has come about. I'm reading the preface. The Ramayana of the great sage Valmiki is an authorized presentation of Vedic knowledge. In fact, as we learn from the scriptures, it is an authentic summary of the original Ramayana composed by Lord Brahma. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya, commenting on the aphorism Drushyate tu Vedanta Sutra 2.1.6, quotes the Bhavishya Purana as follows. The Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvaveda, Mahabharata, Pancharatra, and original Ramayana are all considered Vedic literature. The Puranas that are especially meant for Vaishnavas, such as the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Naradiya Purana, Vishnu Purana, and Bhagavata Purana, are also Vedic literature. Therefore, whatever is stated in such Puranas or in the Mahabharata and Ramayana is self-evident. There is no need for interpretation. So, Mahabharata, Pancharatra, Ramayana, original Ramayana are all considered Vedic literature. What original Ramayana means, which is actually original, is like from what we understand here is given by Lord Brahma, and then Valmiki Muni gave the same thing. So it's an authorized presentation. So we're talking about Valmiki Ramayana. The cardinal teachings of Sri Ramayana can be summarized thus. Lord Rama is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, non-different from Lord Vishnu, who is himself non-different from Lord Krishna, the eternal master of the living entities. One should surrender unto him fully by accepting things favorable for discharging devotional service unto him. So this is Saranagati. Rejecting things unfavorable, firmly believing that the Lord will always protect his devotee, Rakshishati iti Vishwaso, feeling exclusively dependent on the mercy of the Lord, Goptritve Varnam Tata, having no interest separate from the interest of the Lord, Atmanikshepa, and Karpanya, always feeling meek and humble. In the Ramayana, like in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord demands that one surrender unto him by following these 6 guidelines and promises to liberate him from the miserable cycle of birth and death. So, Prabhu is saying that unless we surrender, we can't get liberated. At the end of the Ramayana, he even demonstrates that he fulfills his promise by publicly delivering his fully surrendered devotees residing in Ayodhya from the cycle of birth and death. This is the central teaching of the Ramayana, as it has been understood in all of the authentic Vaishnava Sampradayas and as it has been clarified in the Bhagavad Gita by the Lord himself. This edition of Valmiki Ramayana aims at bringing out this central teaching of the Ramayana so that its readers can fully surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord and attain an everlasting life of knowledge and bliss in pure devotional service to Him in the spiritual world. Actually, Vidwan Gaurang Prabhu is one of the extremely, I mean, Rasta, but he's, yeah, you can say he's so strict about following pure devotional service the way Srila Prabhupada has given. And yeah, not even inch of deviation. And he's pretty straightforward. Pakka Brahmana, very straightforward. You know, directly he just chastises. Once he had come to our Sheshadripuram temple many years back, he was teaching Bhakti Shastri. So fortunately, I was hearing from him, and I was sitting with him for prasadam, and then I was just asking, generally saying that how should we improve? What should we do? Like that. And then he simply made one statement, just saying that this is all what you all are doing is time pass bhakti. He's like that, and I can't forget that. And his association on and off actually has changed my life. I mean, he's extremely powerful Vaishnava. Right? He's not doesn't come out in the open, but when he is on the Vyasasan, he's like fire. Right? It's exactly like what Srila Prabhupada wanted. Um, Yeah, and very, very philosophical. Once, we had some, I think, I don't want to go into the details of that situation. Something happened where somebody spoke a little bit disrespectfully about Srila Prabhupada. And then he was there in our temple during that time. And actually, he gave a formal presentation on who is an Acharya, who can actually comment, who can actually give guidance, why we should follow what he's saying, and so on. I mean, it was such a powerful. Unfortunately, I don't have that PPT. Uh, Extremely technical presentation. Saying that we have no right to meddle with what Srila Prabhupada has given. Unfortunately, today we all thinking that we have also become acharyas. We are just simply breaking rules left, right, and center. What Prabhupada has given, we are not interested in following. And all in the name of mercy, whatever that means. We don't know. We don't understand. But he is not like that. He is so pakka. So he told saying that you're all doing time pass bhakti. If you do bhakti like this, you can't go anywhere. You can't get anywhere. And his focus is also surrender. So he is in the preface only, he's highlighting, saying that, it is surrender. We have to surrender. And surrender means giving up our freedom. This we have discussed multiple times. Giving up our independent thinking. This is surrender. And just doing whatever the Lord wants, which is favorable for our Krishna consciousness, for the pleasure of the Lord. That's all. I'm very happy. I don't want to name the devotees, but few devotees are having some challenges dealing with some other devotees, etc. And then we had a discussion, and that's all. It's the same thing. And I just requested them saying that we need to surrender. If you don't surrender to authority, then we can't make progress. And I was so happy yesterday. I got a message from those other devotees who were a little bit hurt by situation, saying that we are so happy they are, and they were thanking me. I said, why you want to thank me? This is what Prabhupada has taught us. In all centers, all temples, everywhere there are situations to be dealt with. But if we are humble, if we want to follow what Srila Prabhupada has written, then things don't become very difficult. If we bring our own Prabhupada, as Prabhupada says, tiny brain into the picture, then we create complication. We create politics. We create all unnecessary environment. That is not the environment for doing bhakti. That is the outside environment, Kali Yuga environment. We can't bring that into Krishna consciousness. We can't bring that into Prabhupada's ISKCON. So for which the solution is to surrender. Somehow this topic is not very well understood or well received by many devotees. Surrender. You say, why I have to surrender to you or to anyone for that matter? But that is the Diksha process. Diksha Kale Bhakta Kare Atma Samarpan. If you're not ready to surrender, then what is the point? And we can't say I just surrender to whomever I want. There are authorities. Prabhupada is our he is the Shiksha Guru, first Shiksha Guru for everybody, and he'll remain our main Shiksha Guru, right? Which means that if anybody else saying something which is contradicting to what Srila Prabhupada is saying, we don't follow that. That's all, simple. Right, so again, my humble request to all of you, at least some devotees should read Prabhupada's books and become fixed in his teachings. If nobody wants to read, nobody wants to learn, then we'll all go in different directions. So anyway, because this is the mood of Prabhu also, so he's very clearly saying that this is what Ramayana is also teaching us, so that we all fully surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord and attain an everlasting life of knowledge and bliss. So this bliss is going to happen only when we surrender, not otherwise. Bliss in pure devotional service, not so-called bliss. So-called bliss is material. Whatever we are experiencing today in conditioned state is material. The bliss that we enjoy, that we experience when we go through utter difficulty for the pleasure of the Lord, is a spiritual bliss. Please understand this. Not when we are allowed to do things to our liking. That's not bliss. That is mixed, mishra, mostly material. For example, devotees yesterday, day before in our Vijayanagar center and Ulimau center, and also, I heard from other devotees in JP Nagar center also, saying that, they all put so much of effort to celebrate Sri Gaur Purnima. And when we go through that whole, from morning till evening, devotees have served, have worked hard for the pleasure of the Lord. And at the end of the day, everybody is so happy. Nobody was like, I only had to do so much, why others didn't do. No, they were so happy. Oh, I got the opportunity to serve. If somebody did not do, that's their problem or their loss. And that has to be the mood, saying that we are doing all this for Krishna's pleasure, not to please any individual. It's okay, we can always try to please Guru and senior Vaishnavas, but definitely not to please ourselves. That's not bhakti at all. So then we experience bliss in pure devotion, in spite of the difficulties. Those who have read the books of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, would be most benefited by this edition. And we strongly recommend those who haven't read his books to go ahead and read them along with the reading of this immortal Ramayana to better appreciate and understand its spiritual significance. This is the preface. Introduction. Okay. So he's quoting a verse from Harivamsha and he's saying, throughout the Vedas and everywhere in the Ramayana, Puranas and Mahabharata, from the beginning to the middle to the end, the praises of Lord Hari are sung. Very nice verse. Vede Ramayane Chaiva Purane Bharate Tatha Adau Ante Cha Madhye Cha Hari Sarvatra Giyate. Sri Valmiki Ramayana is one of the foundational scriptural authorities on all aspects of Vedic and Vaishnava philosophy, culture, and discipline. Please understand there are three things. Very nicely put by Prabhu, Vedic and Vaishnava philosophy, there's philosophy, but it's no use if you just know philosophy. We also have to understand Vaishnava culture, which is sadachar, which is etiquette, how we have to behave, what we should do, what we should not do. And discipline. Now, without discipline, we can't achieve anything in Krishna consciousness. And we need discipline. The Ramayana is one of the foundational scriptural authorities on these aspects. As such, this great literature has been a source of knowledge and inspiration to Vaishnavas of the four authentic disciplic successions that stem from the Lord, Supreme Lord Himself, and is much loved among all who accept the authority of the Vedic scriptures, even if they happen to be Shaivas, Shaktas, and so on. Shaktas, and so on. What to speak of them? Even some Buddhists who officially deny any allegiance to Vedic teachings revere the Valmiki Ramayana, for it is a true sage's direct perception in Samadhi about Rama, the very personification of Dharma. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. But Rama is more than that. According to the Srimad Bhagavatam, the cream of all Vedic literature is an incarnation of Krishna, the original Supreme Person of Godhead. Ete chamsa kalapamsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Rudayanti Yuge Yuge. All of the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord, Amsha and Kala. But Lord Shri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on planets whenever there is a disturbance created by the atheists. The Lord incarnates to protect the thieves. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.28. And this subject has been clarified by the highest authority in the universe, Lord Brahma himself. Ramadimurtishu kalani amena tishtan nanavataram bhuvaneshu kintu Krishna swayam samabhavat paramappumanyo Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna and the different avatars in the world in the forms of Rama, Nrsimha, Vamana, etc. as his subjective portions, meaning Kala, Amsha Kala. Technically, that's what they're called. Portions are called Amsha, portions of portions are called Kala. And what does portion mean? Basically, Krishna doesn't manifest all his qualities. That's all. That is what it is. So he will display certain amount of opulence, certain amount of strength, etc., etc. But when only Krishna comes himself, Vayam Bhagavan, uh, he he is full full. That is a Purnatama uh, appearance of the Lord, meaning in full. But we should not materialistically imagine that the incarnation is substantially inferior to the source of incarnations, for that is also clarified by Lord Brahma in the same Brahma Samhita. So they are not inferior. दीपार्चिरेव हि दशान्तरमभ्युपेत्य दीपायते विवृत हेतु समान धर्म यस्तादृगेव हि वच विष्णुतयाभिभाति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. When the flame of one candle is expanded to another candle and placed in a different position, it burns separately and its illumination is as powerful as the original candles. Similarly, the Supreme Person of Godhead Govinda expands himself in different forms as Vishnu, who is equally luminous, powerful, and opulent. Let me worship that Supreme Person of Godhead Govinda. So, which means that we can understand that they don't display the strength, the opulence, but they have it. Therefore, based on the above example of the flame of a candle, we should understand that Krishna, Rama, Nrsimha, Narayana, and other Vishnu forms of the Supreme Lord are all substantially the same persons, though in particular forms he chooses to exhibit more of his qualities and in other forms he chooses to exhibit less of his qualities. So the point here is that the qualities are there, it is not exhibited. So they are not inferior in any way. All of them are equal. Still, Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. Everything is coming from Krishna. As such, Sri Valmiki's Ramayana expounds the transcendental nature and supremacy of Lord Brahma by identifying him as the Supreme Person of Godhead Narayana and prescribes in several ways the absolute necessity of surrendering unto him. In each of his forms, the Supreme Lord exhibits a certain mood, and in the form of Ramachandra, the son of King Dasharatha, he is famous as Maryada Purushottama, the Supreme Person who follows the Vedic Dharma meticulously for the welfare of one and all. And Krishna is Leela Purushottama, meaning the Supreme Person who is sportive in nature. And Lord Chaitanya is famous as Prema Purushottama, the Supreme Person who is absorbed in love of Krishna. Prema Purushottama, Maryada Purushottama, Leela Purushottama. Since Lord Ramachandra meticulously adheres to Vedic Dharma, the Ramayana incidentally reveals the intricate details of the divine system of Varnashrama Dharma in its original pure form. Though there are innumerable renditions of Rama Leela, Srila Prabhupada notes that the Ramayana of Maharshi Valmiki is the definitive and authentic account of the pastimes of Lord Rama. Though the Valmiki Ramayana is a book that is popularly read even now, it has been intellectually abused, almost to the extent of the Bhagavad Gita, almost to the extent that Bhagavad Gita has been abused. Rama has been often misunderstood to be the ideal man or a human symbol of the sacred divine, and so on, with all such hodgepodge ideologies culminating in philosophies of impersonalism or voidism. But neither the Bhagavad Gita nor the Valmiki Ramayana are written to be food for one's own mental speculations on the nature of reality. Like the Bhagavad Gita, the Valmiki Ramayana is meant to be understood through the Parampara system, or an unbroken chain of spiritual masters and spiritual disciples stemming from the Supreme Lord Vishnu himself. Otherwise, like the Bhagavad Gita, the simple message of the Ramayana cannot be understood. The central teaching of the Ramayana is that Rama is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the eternal Supreme Lord of all living entities, who, because of their aversion to unmotivated, hmm, who, the eternal Supreme Lord of all living entities, and what are the living entities? The living entities who, because of their aversion to unmotivated and uninterrupted service, ahaituki apratihata, service unto his lotus feet, are being subjected to the continuous cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. Uh, so why are we being subjected to old age, all the Janma Mrityu Jaravadi? Because we have an aversion to unmotivated and uninterrupted service, which means we have a liking to motivated and interrupted service. Some people are atheists, right? We don't have to discuss about them. But even amongst theists, meaning believers of God, then there are those who want to worship God for sakama, for some desires. And they worship various demigods. And those few fortunate souls who come to the Supreme Lord, even they want to worship with some motivation, with some desire, with some intent, with some business mindset. So this is motivated and interrupted service, because such devotees, they don't want to engage in, because they're not serving the Lord for His pleasure. They are not willing to do uninterrupted service. So they will do service whenever they want to. For them, their material life is most important. That takes priority. Now, such devotees can actually, it'll take a long time for them to actually come to the platform of surrender. But here Prabhu is saying that only if we do unmotivated, uninterrupted service can we actually get rid of, I mean, we can come out of the Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi. Therefore, it is in their best interest that they surrender unto his lotus feet. And the Supreme Person of Godhead is ever ready, out of affection for the living entities, his dear children, to award them all kinds of protection from the miseries imposed upon them by material nature. See, please, we have to understand this. Supreme Lord is ever ready to award protection to the devotees, but provided we surrender to him. Then he gives us all protection from miseries imposed upon us by material nature. Because that is, we have done mistakes in the past when we were not fully surrendered, possibly. Even if we have surrendered and we still end up doing some mistakes, Krishna says, Api tetsu duracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhureva samantavyaha samyak vyasito hi saha. So he's saying, even if somebody is a devotee of Krishna and by chance he does some mistake, api chetsu duracharo, even if he might have done some mistake, bhajate mam ananya bhak, but he should be serving Krishna in an unflinching way without going here and there. Sadhureva samantavyaha, he should be considered as a sadhu. So sometimes what happens when we are dealing with devotees, we end up looking at devotees on the material platform, and because of this, we look at mistakes, offenses, this, that, and all that. So we see something some devotee has done wrong, and we just write them off, saying that no, this is useless. No way, no way. We don't have the right to do that at all. And we are nobody to judge others. Let us be conscious, saying that we are ourselves in a fallen state, so we can correct ourselves. And I've told this multiple times. Unless somebody is in this, very dangerous position of having to advise somebody, or give them guidance, we can't. We should not get into this business of guiding others. So yeah, we can always just look at our own mistakes and understand what we need to do, how we need to improve, etc., etc. We should not commit the mistake of thinking that Lord Rama is a conditioned soul like us, or even a liberated soul. He is none other than the Supreme Person of Godhead himself, ever independent and free from the influence of Maya. Notice this famous statement of Lord Rama. Prakrit eva prapannaya tavasmiti cha yachate abhayam sarvabhutebhyo dadami etad pratham mama. Most important thing. It is my woe to all creatures that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, My dear Lord, from this day I am yours, I shall protect him from all creatures. This is in Ramayana itself. Eventually when Vibhishana comes and surrenders to Rama says this. It is my vow, vratam mama. It is my vow to all creatures, all jivas, that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, only once, saying, my dear Lord, from this day I am yours, I shall protect him from all creatures. And again, we've discussed this multiple times. It's a matter of faith. We might say, okay, I've surrendered once, but I don't know if Krishna is going to protect me. Then it's just that because we don't have faith, we will lose the protection of the Lord. We will not get the required protection. Simply because we don't have faith. That's all. This is clarified in the Bhagavad Gita. Sarvadharman paritejya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami. Devi yesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. The divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of nature is difficult to overcome. But those who surrender unto me can easily cross beyond it. Easily, not with difficulty, easily cross beyond it. And so when the great Ramayana is understood through the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, which is acknowledged by the Acharyas to be the definitive essence of all Vedic scriptures, through the Parampara system, the cardinal teachings of the Ramayana become obvious. This might appear strange to those who read such scriptures merely out of academic interest, disregarding Parampara authority. But the end result is that they will continue to be unable to realize the transcendental truths taught in the scriptures and clarified by the standard Vaishnava Sampradayic authorities such as Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The question may arise, what is the necessity of translating the Valmiki Ramayana again? There are already a number of English translations of the entire epic. Our straightforward answer to this, that Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, explicitly desired a detailed multi-volume edition of the Valmiki Ramayana like his detailed edition of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhu is quoting from a letter. I have a great desire to translate the Valmiki Ramayana because that is authorized. I wish to translate Valmiki Ramayana exactly in the way I have done Srimad Bhagavatam. Letter to Dinanath Mishra, dated 26 July 1975. Srila Prabhupada's edition of Srimad Bhagavatam contains the Sanskrit text in Devanagari, its Roman transliteration, Sanskrit English equivalents, a translation, and an explanation or purport, summarizing the commentaries on the Bhagavatam by standard Vaishnava Sampradayic representatives. And he wanted to present the Ramayana in the same manner. And so in this edition of Sri Valmiki Ramayana, as followers of Srila Prabhupada, we have endeavored to present Srimad Bhagavatam on Rama Leela, which is a very brief summary of Ramayana as given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Canto summary, an annotated, unabridged translation, canto by canto, of a Sanskrit summary of the Ramayana from the Madhva Sampradaya by Narayana Pandita, the famous biographer and junior disciple of Madhvacharya. The Madhva Parampara considered this to be a brief explanation of the Valmiki Ramayana. This unique feature of this work is that it takes care to reveal the supremacy and transcendence of Lord Ramachandra at every step. It is based on the Valmiki Ramayana as well as Sri Madhvacharya's summary of Rama Leela in his Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya. 3. Chapter summary, a brief summary of each chapter derived from the commentary. 4. The Sanskrit text of the Ramayana in Devanagari, along with Roman transliteration, Sanskrit English equivalents, and a translation. And 5th, commentary, an annotated, abridged English edition of a celebrated classical Sanskrit commentary on the Ramayana from the Ramanuja Sampradaya. The commentator Sri Govinda Raja states that it is based on the 18 cardinal teachings of the Ramayana that Sri Ramanuja had learned from one of his gurus, Srila Shaila Purna. Faithful and serious Vaishnavas will be delighted to learn about the various aspects of the process of surrender unto the Lord, a subject that surfaces every now and then in the commentary. The commentary appears in regular typeface, okay, after the translation. And 6, note a brief excerpt from Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is in every chapter of the Ramayana to elucidate a particular portion of the text or commentary. Prabhupada has mentioned that the teachings of the Ramayana can be understood easily by reading Bhagavad Gita. If you read Valmiki Ramayana, that is also as good as reading Bhagavad Gita. But if you read Bhagavad Gita, you understand the transcendental science very easily. There's no difficulty. So we shall advise everyone to read Bhagavad Gita. lecture on Bhagavad Gita on 9th October 1975 at Durban, given by Srila Prabhupada. Whenever required for the sake of additional clarification, statements in other books of Srila Prabhupada and his predecessor Acharyas have been added in. Notes are explicitly identified and placed after the commentary. And 7. We have presented our own annotation in the form of footnotes to clarify the canto summary and commentary. So he's asking another question. How will this detailed presentation of the Ramayana be of help to practicing Vaishnavas, especially in the Krishna consciousness movement? From the commentary, it is clear that Ramayana does not teach us to follow dharma or religiosity to attain artha or economic success and kama or sensual satisfaction. It is actually focused on teaching all aspects of the process of surrendering unto Rama, the Supreme Person of Godhead, to help us attain liberation from this miserable world of material existence. Therefore, this edition, unlike most of the other editions of Ramayana, which generally tend to push the readers away from Lord Rama due to misconceptions regarding him and our relationship with him, helps the faithful and devoted reader understand the true nature of Lord Rama as the Supreme Person of Godhead, as the Lord of all demigods, headed by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, and pushes the reader to surrender to him. Incidentally, one will also find that the scripture presents a wealth of significant detail regarding the workings of civilized humanity, that is, a community of human beings who accept Vedic authority, follow certain common spiritual duties, and additionally follow the specific duties of the 4 varnas and 4 ashramas, with the women following their specific duties in such a manner that they are released from the clutches of Maya within one lifetime. This will then be of special interest to members of the Krishna consciousness movement established by Srila Prabhupada, for he had stated that the first half of his mission was to establish Bhagavata Dharma. See, Vidwan Gaurang Prabhu is also saying this. Or the process of devotional service to Krishna, and that the second half of his mission was to establish Varnashrama Dharma. It is also well known that he had stated that he was able to personally accomplish the first half of his mission and that he bequeathed the second half of his mission to his followers. And unfortunately, his followers are rejecting this, saying that this is external to bhakti. What a sad situation. Since the Valmiki Ramayana presents all aspects of Varnashrama Dharma in detail as demonstrated by the Supreme Lord and his associates, it should be of special interest to Srila Prabhupada's faithful followers. So, which means there are also faithless followers or semi-faith followers. Very clear. Vidwan Gaurang Prabhu is saying that everybody has to be interested in Varnashrama if we are serious about Srila Prabhupada, if we are serious followers of Srila Prabhupada, faithful followers of Srila Prabhupada. And this book will aid in that. So it's a multi-canto rendition, like each canto is like three books, 3 volumes. Yet another feature of this edition is that each chapter of the Ramayana has an ink drawing depicting an incident in it, along with colored cover paintings for each printed volume. We sincerely hope that this will stimulate the devotees of the Supreme Lord to remember the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra and his associates in pure devotion. Though we have presented this edition primarily for those who have read Srila Prabhupada's books, it will be useful for one and all interested in successfully surrendering themselves unto the lotus feet of the Lord under the guidance of more advanced Vaishnavas with the ambition of developing pure love for him. Regarding the Sanskrit text of the Valmiki Ramayana that we have presented here, in general we have presented it as it is found in the Madhva Vilas edition published from Kumbakonam in 1911. Okay, we do have plans to add further content in future editions. Criticisms along with suggestions for the improvement of this edition of Sri Valmiki Ramayana are invited on behalf of Rupa Raghunatha Vani Publications, Vidwan Gaurangadas. Okay, so I'll stop here. This finishes the preface and introduction. Okay, so we're going to start from tomorrow, Srimad Bhagavatam on Rama Leela, or we'll start with the overview of Canto 1 of Ramayana or something. Okay, we'll decide. Or actually, we'll read the Canto summary. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we'll close here. श्री रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.